a little tough.
Congratulations on the job.
Thank you. I'm very excited. It's going to be a wonderful challenge. And it's just, I've gotten such a nice, warm welcome from everyone in Syracuse and at the university. It's been very touching. So I'm excited to get started.
What are you most excited for as you move into the new role?
Um, I mean, I think we're at a really interesting time in communication, and Newhouse and Syracuse are such strong institutions that it really provides a lot of opportunity to push boundaries, I think. So I really look at my objective as removing barriers for students when it comes to their success, but also for faculty and staff so they can do their jobs at an even level. And if I'm able to do that, that brings everybody together. And I think we're really creating new opportunities for both the professions as well as the students who are there to serve.
Do you have any examples of what removing barriers would look like and what opportunities that students, faculty, and staff at Newhouse might have next semester?
That's tricky because I think what's really important first is that I get to know the Newhouse culture and the people and really talk to everyone involved to understand what they see as the opportunities and the challenges that they've had in the past to reaching those goals. And I really look at my job as breaking down those barriers once we have them identified. What I will say is I want a larger community to be more aware of all the great things that are going on at Newhouse and at Syracuse. I think there are ways that we can help amplify what's going on at the school, and then also bring attention to some of the critical areas facing our industry today, whether that's disruption in the entertainment field or the music field, or the defense of the First Amendment when it comes to journalism today is very important. And the role of journalism democracy is something I think we can champion at a higher level. And any school could really up their game in that area today because I think it's so important. But I think, you know, when I first arrive on campus, I want to meet as many people as I can and have good conversations and really understand what they see as both the true advantages to Newhouse and then the opportunities for the future. For students, that means being comfortable every day, being excited to come to class, and being felt like you're being led down an enrichment experience that you can really take advantage of and get all those skills you need to propel you into your new career. And there's so many amazing, wonderful faculty at the Newhouse School. It's not as if it's a troubled program. This is a true crown jewel when it comes to mass communication education, not just in the United States, but in the world. So I look at my job as just trying to elevate what is already an amazing program. So it's an exciting place to come to.
And going back to figuring out, I guess, like the workplace environment, even if it is school, it's still like a professional school. A lot of people are working together in different areas. Your CV and also the video message that you sent out to students says that you want to basically kind of foster and, as you said, elevate a more inclusive, supportive community. Are you planning to do that more at Newhouse? What are some concrete actions that you can take to make sure that environment, which I think if you've seen the news around Syracuse University, some students don't feel that is what's going on right now. How can you make sure that actually happens?
Mm-hmm. Well, I make sure that actually happens by staying acutely aware and engaged. So that means opening lines of communication, being a really good listener, and understanding what the challenges are that students are facing. If they are facing a challenge when it comes to feeling as if they're getting the support they need to succeed on campus and at the school. So to me, that's about having very much an open door policy and engaging with students as often as possible. You will see me walking the halls. You will see me having lunch at food.com and striking up conversations. And frankly, probably walking over to the residence halls once in a while and those sorts of things too. So I want students to know who I am and that I am very approachable and that they can get a hold of me if they're facing any sort of problem. I want to be able to be that resource that they can go to find help. And if I don't have those answers, and I may not have the answers, especially walking through the door, but I'm going to work very hard to find the people who can address those things. And there are some amazing people already in the building doing that every day. So I'm confident that we can reach that level of success. But back to your point, I think it's critically important that an administrator or a dean does everything he can to help others succeed in their educational space. So, for example, At Arizona State University, I've worked hard to create new programs so that transfer students feel a part of our community at the Cronkite School, even if they arrive in sophomore or junior year, even though most have started as a freshman. That's new and different to them. They need to have people and programs that they can rely on to feel included. First generation students is another area where we've had great success here at Arizona State and the Cronkite School. These are people who don't have families with a rich history of going to college. So that whole application experience, let alone what you're experiencing when you arrive on campus, it's all brand new. And those are students who are in groups that may not easily find the success that some other student may find. And I want to identify what are those groups at Newhouse and at Syracuse that could use that level of support and ensure they're getting it. In some cases, I'm sure they're getting it already, but there are other areas where we could elevate our game when it comes to helping students succeed in the building and on campus.
You've also basically created some professional partnerships between school student media and some other local stations and even network stations. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. For me, that's one of the best parts of my job is reaching out to the professional communities that can help show all the great work that's going on campus, as well as provide new opportunities for our students. So some of the ones that I'm very proud of are, say, for instance, our partnership with the Scripps Media Company. We have a dedicated program where they hire multiple Cronkite graduates every year and put them in certain television stations around the country. And I believe there's a program similar to that at Newhouse as well. But also on the network level, whether that's dedicated internship slots at PR firms and entertainment companies and news corporations, or that may be bringing professionals to be using our facilities in a collaborative way. So in Arizona, we have Fox Sports Arizona and the Phoenix Suns. They actually use a facility inside the Cronkite School to do many of their productions. Well, that serves two purposes. It gets their content out there, but it also helps our students engage with professionals at the highest level. So it's a win-win. But what I would like to do, one of my goals is to look at all the great content that Newhouse students are producing across the school and say, how can we get that content in front of more eyes, not just around the country, but around the world? Because that helps show what Newhouse can do. It ultimately helps in the recruitment piece, but it also helps students get jobs, frankly, and helps their work be seen and adds to their portfolio. So those sort of network and corporate connectivity challenges are one of my favorite things to tackle. And I think being so close to New York City, there's a lot of opportunity, and certainly the Los Angeles program as well. So I'm excited to see all that's been accomplished to date and where faculty, staff, and students identify opportunities for growth there.
Are you thinking of connecting NCC News, the student PR firm on campus, with local places that they can do professional sets with?
That's something I would certainly like to explore. Again, part of my job coming in is to get a better sense of what's been accomplished to date, what are the goals of the program, and how I can help. So if it makes sense to be the champion to get that sort of connectivity and that sort of work out there, I would love to dive in and tackle that. And I'm sure that the students have a lot of good ideas as well as our faculty. And those are the kinds of conversations that I'm excited to have as soon as I arrive on campus this summer. Every school is different, right? And there are different aspects to that school and that culture that help it succeed. So I went from the University of Maryland to Arizona State University, and they were vastly different, both very successful Research One institutions. But you can't simply go from one campus to another and replicate what you've done in the past. You can use your knowledge and your experience to improve a program, but I would be remiss to walk in and say, I know exactly what I want to do when it comes to a curriculum. I need to spend time. I need to get to know the curriculum, the faculty and the students and the degree programs that we offer. And I need to get to know them well before saying, okay, now here are some opportunities that we can take advantage of to ensure that our curriculum is always cutting edge. And again, Newhouse has a rich history of staying ahead of the curve, and I want to make sure that continues. In other words, I have a lot of experience at institutions with similar sort of professional program curriculums and various experiences. So I think bringing together my connectivity with industry along with a true legacy and dedication to student success is really where I hope to make my mark. And then also, I think there are opportunities to expand. Obviously, Newhouse has an amazing alumni network of support, both in terms of engagement as well as financial. And so, how do I want to leverage that community, grow the Newhouse brand, and help it even greater impact our society? And I think there are ways we can do that. And I have some general thoughts on areas of expansion, so to speak, of the Newhouse brand and legacy. And I'm excited to hear what others think and figure out what we want to tackle. But these first few months are really going to be about learning and listening. And then I think we'll be able to bring the right players together to develop a real strategy for success in the years to come.
Are you thinking of bringing that kind of expertise to the BDJ program at Newhouse?
I do want to get in the classroom. I mean, I think I have some things to offer, and I would love to be a part of the faculty on a semester by semester basis and get some teaching in. I think I will need to do that carefully because the dean has a wide range of responsibilities, and I have to keep my head up and be looking into the future. But I think I would not do my job well if I don't feel that I have good connectivity with students. And one way you get that connectivity is obviously in the classroom. So whether that's teaching a skills sort of experience or popping in periodically in the BDJ program, or maybe it's a freshman experience that I could be involved in would be wonderful. One thing I'm really proud of that we do here at the Cronkite School in ASU, each of the deans teaches a section of freshman history and principles of journalism class. And we do that by design for a couple of different reasons. First of all, we want the students to understand that leadership is approachable. These are people that you want to get to know and should get to know and feel that you can reach out to if you have a challenge or a problem or just want some good advice. And then also we want to set a high bar for our students. In other words, this is the level of the teaching at our program, and you should expect this level all the way through your time at the school. So I'm hoping to find ways to certainly get in the classroom and engage, and exactly what that's going to look like. I think it's going to take some time to figure out how I can do that and also be successful with the other aspects of my job. But fingers crossed, we're going to make that happen.
In the announcement, it also said that you've increased enrollment and revenue at ASU. Do you think that's an expectation for you coming into Newhouse?
I don't think that's necessarily an expectation on the table. I do think that there's sort of a sustained growth model that I think helps a school and a program stay fresh. But what I really need to do is understand what the goals of the university, of the chancellor and the provost are, and ensure that the goals of Newhouse align with their own objectives. So I we can go down that road if that is the objective. And I'm not ready to say that that's what we need to do. But I'm sure as you understand that alumni engagement and fundraising is an important part of a dean's job. And so I'm sure that that will be a fairly large slice of my pie and of my duties. And that's okay. I like to think of myself as a people person, and I love to meet others and those who share the same kinds of passions that we do as a faculty and administration, and help their goals align with what we're doing at Newhouse will be fun to take on. As far as the actual enrollment, I think it's a good sized program right now. And again, it depends on what are the goals of the chancellor and the provost. And then we can certainly align our objectives with those goals.
You were hired for this job in the middle of a pandemic. You can't come to campus right now because it's closed.
I know, I'm sad.
Scenario. Yeah, I'm sad too. Worst case scenario, this thing continues into fall and nobody comes to campus.
Well, I have confidence that we're all going to be on campus in the fall, but my job, no matter what, is to ensure that we are delivering the best education possible for our students. And if that needs to be done remotely, then we're going to do our very best job at that. I think this remote environment has actually unearthed a lot of creativity for many schools and many professors, even in those first couple weeks. And I think if you give us months, it's going to improve even more. So I think we're going to get to that point? No, I think we're all going to be on campus come fall, and I look forward to meeting the students, faculty, and staff as soon as I arrive. But we have to be prepared for all scenarios. And I think from everything I can see from here, the Newhouse leadership and faculty is off to an amazing start. And, give us all a few more months to make it even better, and we'll be doing that much more come fall. But fingers crossed, we'll all be released from our homes
Yeah.
and be able to be on campus in that environment that we all know and love. And I truly believe that we're going to be okay, and we'll all be back on campus pretty soon. But obviously, that's not up to us, and we have to make sure that we can help you, the students, succeed no matter what challenge we're facing. My original hope was to be on campus this past Monday when the announcement was made on the 23rd. And certainly multiple times between the announcement and my arrival. So my goal in these next few months is to set up a series of conversations with several stakeholders at Newhouse, whether that's faculty, student leadership, certainly alumni and others. So I can do that remotely, and will continue to do everything I can to sort of study up for my new job. I want to hit the ground running, as they say, when I arrive in late June or early July, and really feel that we're off to a great start.
Are you thinking of hosting any remote meetings with students in Newhouse with like a faculty forum?
Yes, that is something I would like to work toward. I think everyone, both at Newhouse and here at ASU at the Cronkite School, we're also heavily focused on delivering a quality experience in this remote online world that we're living in. That's where the focus needs to be at the moment. But once we feel we have our sea legs, so to speak, and have a rhythm, I would love to explore those sorts of forums. And I think we could do those remotely if others think that that would be of value. I'm happy to participate and would enjoy that.
When we are all hopefully back on campus in fall, the class of 2020 for Newhouse is potentially going to be coming back, hosting commencement celebrations in the Dome, or just a different graduation celebration in general. How are you planning to kind of celebrate a class that you haven't necessarily met yet?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I'm happy to jump in and celebrate at the highest levels. I mean, the reality is, it would be wonderful to be able to meet those students and those families, hear about their experiences at Newhouse, and help them celebrate the beginning of what is a wonderful journey into their career. So, whether that's simply as a sort of a engaged spectator, or actually standing on a platform and helping hand out diplomas, I'm up for whatever makes the most sense to celebrate the class of 2020. And one thing I can assure you is that Newhouse will do a proper job of celebrating the class of 2020, because I think that's so important and a milestone. So whether that time is after my arrival, that's just fine, and I'll do everything I can to make sure that we mark the event as it should be. But I hope that even within the Newhouse community, that we can find a way to recognize and celebrate the class of 2020. Ideally, that would be in person, but depending on when that happens, that may or may not be something that I get to really engage in at a high level. But I'm sure everyone there has a good plan coming together, and I'll be excited to see how it evolves. But I'm ready to jump in at any level.
All right. And you've been at ASU for a number of years. You've mentioned that you've been in and out of classrooms, so you've developed relationships with the students there. How are you feeling? I mean, you're stepping into a bigger role, but you're also leaving a community that you've become a part of.
Sure. I mean, it's bittersweet. I'll be honest with you. I've developed a wonderful network of friends and colleagues, and certainly former students and alums, and that's going to be hard to leave. I've loved Arizona, but I'm excited about the new challenge, and really couldn't be more excited. Two things really struck me on Monday was, first, the warm welcome from everyone in Syracuse and the Newhouse community that I received, whether it was notes and email, direct messages on Twitter, or posts. That felt wonderful. But then, of course, all the wonderful notes and messages and tweets from everyone in the ASU community. I heard from students who graduated 12, 14 years ago, all the way through to those who are in the program now. And that made me feel good. It made me feel wonderful about the job that we've done here over the last 14 years, but also certainly excited about the challenges ahead. So I couldn't be more ready to get started.
All right. And moving from Arizona, which is sunny and nice, like year round, to Syracuse. How are you feeling about that transition with the weather?
That may be the most difficult transition. I have to tell you, Erin, I'm looking out over a window right now. It's beautiful. It's sunny. It's probably going to get to about maybe 76, 78 today. So that's going to be a little rough. The wardrobe is definitely going to need an upgrade when it comes to winter coats and that sort of thing. But I have had a little time back east in my career, so I'm sort of channeling my Washington D.C. or my Missouri experience, and hoping that I haven't lost all of that ability to survive a cold winter. So it's going to have to come back.
You mentioned that you've worked basically as a BDJ guy almost your entire career, and then later as an administrator in education. Um, so how do you think you can bring all of that experience, mostly just in broadcast journalism, to serve all of the majors at Newhouse?
Sure. Well, I think that's very important, and I think you bring up a good point. I can't be just singularly focused on my own area of expertise. That would be a shortcoming on my part and wouldn't be fair to all of the wonderful aspects of the Newhouse School. Part of what excites me about this experience is the breadth and depth of the program itself. So getting to engage with students who are excited to be in the entertainment industry or advertising or music and public relations, all of those areas to me are learning opportunities for me. So it's my job to get to know those areas of the curriculum very well so I can help those students and faculty to succeed also. So that's sort of where my learning curve is. I think in some of those areas of the program that I may not know as well, because it's certainly my responsibility to champion those programs equally and also ensure that they're finding the same level of success and growth that the areas of journalism that I'm more familiar with would also.
So what made you apply to be dean in the first place? Why do you want to leave Newhouse?
Well, it's sort of an ultimate challenge, right? I mean, you want the opportunity to lead on your own in many ways. And I mean, come on, it's the Newhouse School. It's truly one of the crown jewel programs in the country. I would be kicking myself if I didn't apply. And I have to tell you, when I was on campus for those 2 or 3 days for the actual interview earlier this year, it was really an amazing experience. And yes, it was bitter cold, and I even lost my jacket because I wasn't used to carting around a coat. But the reality is, I was really taken by the community, the energy of the students, the drive and the innovation of the faculty, and it really just felt like a great connection for me. And so quickly then I realized that this was an opportunity that I wanted to explore further, and fingers crossed that it would all work out okay.
Originally, when the provost or the interim provost reached out to you about the job offer, he mentioned that you thought it wasn't the right opportunity at the time for you. But then you later came back and said that
Yeah.
it was. What changed?
I mean, it's timing. I mean, the reality is there was a time frame where the provost felt that he needed to make sure that the search was moving on at a proper pace. And on that date, I didn't feel that I could say yes, knowing that I could give 110% to the job, because I hadn't really had the chance to digest everything with my family yet and really envision our life in Syracuse compared to our life in Phoenix. The reality is I have two children who are in high school. One's about to graduate and go off to college. The other is younger and in high school, and sort of seeing how this would impact their lives, let alone my wife and her career and everything. Honestly, that takes a little time. And I didn't want to say yes until I knew that we were all 110% on board. And within a few days, I felt like we were there. And so I worked up the guts and I reached back out to the provost and I said, if you're willing, we are ready to go. And I feel that I can give you a yes answer today, knowing that I can pour everything into this job and also knowing that my family is behind me. And so that was the moment that I think we both felt that it was time to move forward.
So is your family all excited to come to Syracuse?
Yes, they're skeptical about the weather. I'll be honest. There's a desire to, come back to Arizona, say over that winter break. I think I would not be shocked if this is where we, where we came for a vacation or something like that. So uh, they're certainly excited. They're excited to see campus. They're bummed out that we can't travel. Everybody wants to come out and look around. So I'm hopeful that by the time we're ready for fall semester, that everybody will be have had a chance to get to know the place.